Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Please like this video and please subscribe to this channel. So today it's time for some more jaded comedy. A lot of people really love the jaded comedy, so we'll give it another try. And this was a recent date that I had. A little while ago, about maybe, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, 4.5 weeks ago. I'm not going to say the name, obviously, but it was somebody who I ended up speaking on the phone with for a little while. Excuse me. Someone who I ended up speaking on the phone with for a little while, and we totally hit it off. We spoke on the phone for 3 hours. It seemed like she couldn't, she so wanted to speak to me, and it seemed like a total fit. Though she told me that she had a boyfriend, but she implied that it might be in the end game or it might not be working out. So I ended up asking her out on it was actually the first time I met her. It wasn't through a dating site or anything like that, but long story short, I spoke to her on the phone, but it was the first time I met her. Because of COVID, it's difficult to meet, let's say. So I ended up asking her if she wanted to go out, on a first meeting. And she said, okay. And I said, well, where do you want to go? She said, Starbucks. And I said, okay. But I'm not really that crazy about it. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, which I almost didn't do it because it was beyond early for me, especially on a Friday, she said she wanted to meet at Starbucks. So I said, sure. And I dragged my body out of my house and drove all the way to Starbucks in Boca Raton to meet this girl at 10:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I gotta tell you something. I saw her and she did not look like her picture, but she seemed perfectly fine. So I said, okay. So I begrudgingly paid for the coffee and we sat down. And I gotta tell you something. She must have told me about 25 times that she got a new job and she was going to make over $100,000 a year. Now, I let this girl know that for the next 2.5 years, I'm still going to be in the FAU program on a stipend. Trust me, it's not $1 million a year. And all this girl wanted to do was talk to me about how great she was, and she's going to make over $100,000 a year, new job. Must have heard that not once, not twice, no exaggeration, about 20 times. You could have had a drinking game attached to this. And she kept telling me how in 2 years she wants to have this, she's going to save up her money to the exact amount, in 4 years she wants this, in 6 years she wants this, a big house, 5 different rooms, all this sort of stuff. And it's got to go exactly to plan. It can't go any differently. It's got to be exactly to plan. Now, I've been accused of being a little bit anal in the past, but I do not plan my life for the next 2 years or 5 years or 7 years. There's an old thing that you're supposed to have a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. I don't really believe in that, to tell you the truth. I think you should have an idea of where you want to go or a guideline, but the reality is, man makes plans and God laughs. I don't think that you have to plan exactly what you want and sit around and write plans and go through in your mind and stuff like that. Because, look, you could meet somebody tomorrow and next year you could be married. Or you could not. A lot of this has to do with luck. And just listening to her stressed me out. And by the way, she was a terrible listener. She had almost no interest in what my story was. She just wanted to tell me about her. And she basically wanted me to blow wind up her skirt the whole time and tell her how great she was. It was ridiculous. And this lasted 3 hours. And after the first half hour, I really thought about just getting up and leaving. And I said, give it a little longer. Then an hour passed and I said, I don't think that this is going to go anywhere. And I felt so rude getting up and leaving, but I said, all right, I'll stick it out. Maybe it'll change. It turned into an hour and a half, 2 hours, and before you know it, I was there till 1:35 in the afternoon. And I think I talked about myself for about 5 minutes. And it was so stressful hearing about her plans and these big houses and all this stuff. It was terrible. The takeaway from this is that even if you could match on the phone or on paper, it doesn't mean it's going to be a match in person. It's pretty interesting because from what I could gather, the matches tend to be not a match on paper, and then when you go in person, it could be a match. These dating sites like eHarmony and Match.com, they tend to, use 20 criteria, 25 criteria to get you by logic and reason the perfect match. That sucks. They should use criteria and they should match you up with the most imperfect person they could find. And then they'll probably be better matches. I don't want someone like me. I don't think I'm like this girl. I hope I'm not. But I'll tell you, it was terrible. And it lasted 3.5 hours. If I wasn't such a nice guy, I should have gotten out after the first hour. It was terrible. Just terrible. Terrible. Hopefully I never see her again.